Oh yeah. The audio. Excellent. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. One minute. Probably write something there. Ten seconds. All right, that's off. Excellent. All right. Hey, creatives. It's Wednesday, just after 6. Gonna have a delicious Skunkworks Moon Water. Well, we draw tonight. And I'm gonna try to do 2 pictures. It's really loud in the studio. I have all the windows open. And, 4 years ago when I signed the lease, I thought, the windows being open, that's gonna be great. But outside in the parking lot is where the chiller is, and it's incredibly loud. So I have these Koji chimes, they're chiming away. I've got some music playing bird stuff, and I'll try to talk fairly loud. The mic is by my face. You can see here the drawings we're going to do. These are, I have like a folder, and I don't know where they came from. I think this one is from a Watts Atelier course I audited. And I don't know, that might have just been from Instagram. I figure if it's in the public and this channel's small enough, we're not going to get in trouble. So I will put them up on the screen, and let's tilt down and get ready to go. I have 5 pencils sharpened. Well, 5 Pierre Noir Contes, and I have one like a needle and one more like a spear. And then I have, for the detail work, a little bit harder pencil, my Wolf's Carbon, and those are 2B. So I just use the B in the Pierre Noir, and the 2B, sometimes the 4B in Wolf's Carbon, which we have here at the studio. When we reopen, you'll be able to buy them off me if you can't get them elsewhere. I order them in the hundreds. I also go through them in the hundreds. All right, let's zoom out. You can see I got a little bit different setup today as well. I decided to get rid of the tabouret because this is my painting drawer. I figured I'd just use the far right of it for the drawing stuff, and I can just take this off when I don't need it. Okay. The Jane Fondue, you changed your name. That one's more fun. It's like food and karate or something. Okay, so let me just put up the first image, the back study, which will, where is it? There. And cut. There we go. So we're going to try to utilize as much of the paper as possible. I think this piece is almost done. It's almost seen its last days. It's starting to rip at the top. That was one we did last week. Sorry, I'll move this slightly over. Move this camera over a little bit. Okay. That way you can see everything I'm doing. What? Okay. And see, you know, what I'm grabbing and whatnot. See what I'm typing maybe as we do the chats. A few weeks ago, I think this girl with the skull is the same one. I didn't put tattoos on her, as we'll be drawing from in the second half. The first one is kind of a warm-up. I mean, even last week I did the drawing in 2 hours. We're not really so long posy. Maybe because I'm getting fast. But when the body's back in here, Wednesday night we'll go back to long pose. All right. I'm just putting the picture up in front of me, and then we'll get off to the races. So that idea of a plum, I don't know where this cross is laying on the model yet. I have to analyze it. It's good to have 3 points of contact. In this case, if you know the structure underneath the body, you could go down the scapula to the venous dimple, and then to the lower gluteus maximus on the lower. You could pick the ear, shoulder, the hip, but then your line will be justified to the left. So just figure out where it's going to work for you. I'm going to set my timer, and I'm going to sit up straight today, so you might see a lot of pink hair leaning in. Pontomoro timing, which is 25 minutes. The goal being, you know, it takes about 20 minutes to get a lay-in, and then you can just fart around a little bit as well. Let me just move this camera up a little bit more. That way we don't see the pink hair so much. Speaking of pink hair, my friend who dyed my hair this color is set to arrive after this live stream. We're also going to be missing Jeff. He's out in Banff, so some of our regulars can't attend the live stream tonight. All right. Designated top of the page. Now, I need to decide if I want that box or not. I think I will not worry about it, and I'm just going to measure and figure out where halfway is on her body. So halfway I see around her hip. That comes at an angle here. So I'll use that as my reference. So if I measure from that hip up to the top of the head, say in this case it's the length of the pencil, from the hip down, same thing, and that will get to the bottom of her seated hip. So let's define that. It's basically horizontal, and I'm using the toned edge. I'm not drawing with the point. I want to be rough and almost painterly at this point. Point, saying point too many times means different things. So I want to draw the big overall shape. This is her shoulder, and there's no commitment yet, so don't worry about if it's right or not. That's why it's really soft. I want to try to use as much of the paper but not have my figure go off. That's one of my pet peeves when artists don't plan and then they have to say like, I meant to do it that way. No, your job is to do it the way you meant it to be, to the best of your ability. And unfortunately, we never get to that level of perfection, right? Maybe signify the center line of the spine. I could draw some structured hips in here as well if I want. Big shapes though. It's like the hair. The head. Maybe bring the arm in a little bit. The lay-in is like the fun part. We'll watch time to see how much rendering I do. There's a lot of drama because the photographer of this piece was really good. So the lighting is nice. We've got a little reflected light up in there as well. So there's a slight gap between the arm and the thigh. So this distance is equal to this distance. That will help me place that head, which looks like it's a little further out. Ear, the hair, where I had it first maybe. That knee, it's higher than the shoulder. Heel. This is all dark, these shapes. Right there. Shoulder girdle. Okay, so I've got a basic plan to follow. So I'm going to attempt to build in a little bit more structure as I go, kind of from top down. The old window. Hey! Jeff did stop by. Hello? Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm doing my live stream right now.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Just checking out the doors, so.
Oh, you're checking the doors? Okay. Thanks for coming by. Are you here again this week?
Yes, on Friday.
Okay. Just to talk about what's going on, but also about that space. So I can tell Megan on Saturday if she can start putting stuff up.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Have a great night. Yeah, thank you. That was just the C-Space staff checking all the doors to see if they were locked. We have had people coming in off the street and wandering the halls, so I asked for new locks because I have some things of value in here. Jeffrey, thank you for coming by. Jeff's in Banff. So that's kind of cool that you took some time out of your vacation. This humble little thing we do here every week. I do thank you guys for coming. It's motivating. In fact, that's kind of been one of the many topic of conversations lately. A lot of people, including teachers, have been saying to me how they feel things have not been going their way. They're not motivated. But we also need to remember we're in a changing times, meaning the end of summer. In fact, here in Calgary, sadly, I feel like I made her shoulder too big. It already feels like fall. So that's a little bit sad. Fall is my favorite season though. I'm a Virgo, so my time is coming. I grew up in BC and I like the rain. I call it liquid sunshine. Although it really wouldn't surprise me if we got a huge heat blast. That ear's looking too big, but we'll find out. So just refining things. I'm not that committed, but if I like follow the angles and turns, this being a warm-up, so I'll probably only do 2 sittings of this drawing. You can see right here from the neck, we're going down the traps. There's a muscle that goes across there, and you can see kind of like, you know, her bird-like bones popping through. That's the scapula. And it is attaching up there and coming down, and right there where I've dipped it, I've emphasized the achromium process. And then it's a very stretched out and forward-facing deltoid. So my simple shapes had like 4 turns, but I want to be sure to give more 3-dimensionality on all these turns and surfaces, if I can. So we're cheating that a little bit. Should be slightly bowed. Slightly going out this way. And all shapes on the human body in terms of the contour should be concave, 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 not convex. There's not shark bites taken out of your figure. So just make lots of little arcs if need be, but don't cut it in like that. The one place I would say to do that is actually in females, like a cutout shape on the trap. Whereas males, I would go the other way. This cutout shape, convex, looks more feminine than if I build her traps this way. Just one of the tricks of the trade that we use. You know, certain lines look more masculine or feminine. Things you want to emphasize or take out. Yeah, I'm gonna make this ear a lot smaller. Big shapes first. I got carried away. You know, your eye goes to detail and it's just like there's so many interesting little shadows in there. you can see the helix clearly, and then the anti-helix is catching light as well. That'll be fun later. Maybe I'll scribe in a little hairline using the very soft side. Soft is here, firm is here, hard is the tip. The hard tip, just the tip. There's just the tip to get those neck rolls. The pinching here. Compression, expansion. These are good things to think about in terms of making dynamic work, but also I learned it a lot in animating. Squash and stretch is another term when animators use it. Okay. I wonder if we'll see Keith Springall on here today, if he's not out there already. I just took the shoulder line and dropped a plumb in my mind just to see that this line wasn't cutting in too far. In case you're wondering. When I was a kid, well, like 12, I was going to Ladysmith Secondary School. Maybe I was 14. I had this poster from a store called San Francisco, which was the tawdry white trash store that I love shopping at. You know, it had like the pin cushion face, you push your face in. For a while there, they sold knives. At the back, they had like adult novelties. It wasn't a sex shop, but it had like that kind of stuff. You know, crummy jokes for tacky people. And I had this poster that said, "This butt's for you." And it was like 4 girls out with cowboy hats and stuff. Very Albertan. Even though I didn't live in Alberta at the time. And they had chaps on, so their butts were hanging out. And I think it was probably like Budweiser, actually. This butt's for you. Yes. This live stream is my therapy. Just get it out, bunny. Just get it out. Okay. Some nice turns and twists. The deltoid. Traps. And let's try to get the side of the body it's bending. So this is the lats, and it's compressing. As you can see, the serratus would be in there turning. We can't see all that, it's in the dark. I feel like I've almost put her hips at too high of an angle, so I'm gonna drop them down and do the shape. I don't like when people draw the hips as a straight line. There are mounds and bulges, especially because it's representing the muscles and the aces or the pieces, which we'll put in here shortly. That little those little dimple areas here. If you draw the triangle, which can represent the tailbone or the sacrum, and then you can draw little Mickey Mouse ears on it. That's kind of an interesting notation. That's looking good. It's a little high. Getting a lot of emails every day now. Things are ramping up. I ordered business cards. I'm meeting with some of the teachers next week. So I'm feeling the heat. People want to get back into the studio. I'm still swamped at the studio with the Metro Graphics projects, but and I start teaching animation the next 2 weeks, online camps. It's a busy time. The newsletter and all the new listings will be out as the annual usual date, which I do after the Labor Day long weekend. It's summer anyways, right? All right, getting close here. Pull in the knee. That's actually representing that separation at the tibial tuberosity. It's not one straight line, but when you design it, you can go down there. Soleus. I'll put a little oval to represent the ankle there, just so you see a landmark. If I go across, maybe this leg, I can find that it lines up horizontally. A little bit more flesh here, right? You've got your IT band coming down, and girls tend to have a little more flesh back there. On the reference, it's a lost edge entirely. So I just point that out in case you don't see it. The bird, yes, I'm an aspiring ornithologist, and the reason the bird track came about was because I would sometimes play music, and in the moments that I wasn't talking, the bots on YouTube would pick up the algorithm of the song, and then I would get the video taken down for a copyright strike. Even though I'm not monetized, you still can't steal artists' art, right? I'm looking at the negative space. His ankle's looking awfully thin to me. The heel, or the calcaneus. Sometimes, you know, people avoid drawing the feet. It's a pet peeve. But we're in the dark here, so we're going to use this area, royal we, as an opportunity to design. I'll just do it flat black, but we'll make some crisp shapes. We won't worry about form. We'll just let the shape tell the story, I think. If I can get away with that. Contrary to popular opinion, feet can be gross. There's a little space between the big toe. I just draw like a little triangle. And this little pinky toe. We'll leave it like that. Design. And a little bit here. Other than that, that's just going to be like a dark shape, which I think will look pretty nice. Okay, I still got 3 minutes here, so I'll jump ahead in describing some of the bigger forms. Start at the bottom for the darkest shadows, because we're going to have to build them up, which means layering. You don't want to just press really, really hard with your pencil. Which way does the leg go? Follow that shape. It's okay to be a little scratchy or to have the banding, because it tricks the eye into following that form. Whereas shadows go the direction of the form, toning the actual shape is a cross contour. And at least that's my suggestion. You don't have to draw this way at all. It's just an effective way to record the information you're trying to get down in a session. There's reflected light down there. So our main light source is coming this direction. So this is the lightest area. So we're going to see all the shadows on the opposite side. So normally when I'm teaching, I try to keep the light in the same place, top left, 45 off the talent, 45 going down, so that when you're studying cans and still lifes and simple things, you can build up a repertoire. And since you know it one direction, you'll know it the opposite. You just have to draw it the other way. So just by keeping consistent that way, always doing top left light in the studio, I build up a library, as it were, of what shapes and forms look like under various light conditions. That really helps when you have softly lit figures and you can't see much, especially in real life. You don't, there's a lot of things going on, and you're in a room where you have to have the lights on to see the artwork. You don't get the chance to have dramatic lighting like we see in this photograph reference. The cast shadow. There's those tendons there. Cast shadow. And it goes from hard to soft. So, because we're training for time, the next one I'm just going to finish all the shading that I can. But let's take ourselves a 5-minute break. And here we go. All right. Wow. Forgot how much I like that little thing. I'll have to make more of those if we continue this. So just like in painting, here, let me just get this so you can do a side-by-side kind of comparison. I know they're different sizes, but you get the idea. Just like in painting, we're going to go from dark to light. You know, part of our practice of drawing is to improve at painting, I think. Maybe not everyone wants to paint. I definitely do. Drawing is fast, and the best way to learn to paint, I think, is like charcoal. You know, start with your black and white, get your values going. All right. So, darkest area. Next would be under the arm here. So, soft edge, wrapping around that muscle. And all of this is pretty much the same value of dark. So I lay some on, I turn my pencil, lay some more on, and this is a rough newsprint. If it was smooth, this would be less grainy looking. And because there's grains, I need to go at a different angle so that I allow my material to get in all those little holes. So it's not just press, don't press harder. So there's a nice dark arm. And I like to clean up as I go. Often I'll do it with my left hand. Keeps the brain nimble as well. Or you can be a total dork and just juggle. Right, Ophelia? Are you there? Okay, the other thing that's dark, cast shadow. So when this photographer, artist, model work together, they're looking to create these shapes of light and dark. So if I don't get a chance to render it out, I'll at least have the building blocks to do that on my own. So sometimes drawing is not about getting a finish, but getting a notation. And you'd say, I really like the light here, especially pre-photography. Just see the edge control. So it goes from just below that fold and it curls over the leg. So I'm going to round mine out a little bit more than you see to help describe that roundness of the leg. We're not meant to draw everything exactly as we see it. When you're first training, I would suggest that's the goal. You want to actually improve upon it. And this, you know, takes into account design a little bit. And also, since it's flat, by curving that line a little bit more than you see in the reference, it's quite angular, it gives a roundness to the leg to tell the viewer, or as a notation, it might not, it's like a slight exaggeration to improve the language of what you're drawing. So my first concept was always, you know, especially with the Atelier style of training, is you're trying to replicate as true to nature as possible at first. Then you start to learn all the rules, how to idealize the form. So then you improve upon it, you know, like in advertising too, maybe make the legs a little longer, maybe curve some curves a little more. I mean, people do the same thing with all that stuff they shove in their lips, you know, making them more plump. So that standard of beauty, you, in whatever culture or belief system or attraction that you might have, you decide what that is. You know, Botticelli's considered a realistic art, and then if you put a Botticelli beside a figure from Rembrandt or from Leonardo da Vinci or stuff, they would look like they're from completely different planets. And yet, we say that they both look real. They're doing idealization. There is, just like documentary films are biased, we have biases too. Sometimes those biases are a technical inability. This space is way too long on mine. It's too late now, we're going for it. So I'm looking for the shapes. There's like a slight reflected light here. And then this shape. I'm gonna take out the light that's in there. So this length is this length. Actually, it's not so bad. Maybe the cleft is just a little too downward. Get good at doing that so it looks smooth, like I did there. And then you tone over top of it. Add more. Because the darkest light is probably this. So we need our darks, even the reflected light, to be darker than the first pull. So you just pile the material up on it. I think for now she's going to be a floating figure. I don't think I'll have time to do the lighting effect. Or I might, because I forgot to hit start. Okay. So once again, crossing the contour and drawing that shape. The curvature of the leg. And here, I'm going to pull out the lights and soften it. Pull it up a little bit more. So it's not fully rendered, but it gives you that sense of turning of the form, right? Take out that secondary shadow line. Okay, so anywhere there's cast shadow, especially if it's close to the pinch, you pretty much got your solid black. It's a great opportunity to get your pencil sharpened more. Just think that like your paper is 3500 grit. The bulge. A little bit of kicker light here, a little bit here. Just keep darkening. Just gonna go back, since we're talking about darks, just gonna fortify these darks down here. These kind of architectural foot shapes. We'll let the viewer's mind fill in the rest. There's enough information there that people will get it. Maybe that's why too that people like skip the feet a lot. Not only because they're hard like hands and can look like mittens, but we kind of block it out. Unless you got really cool shoes. Thanks for all the positive comments, guys. Keith is here. Oh my God. Hello, Keith. Greg. Ringmaster. A jeweler. Not the ray of sunshine. Thank you. Thank you all. We will keep doing these freebies. Hopefully they are actually interesting. I know a lot of you guys are my friends, but it's like getting a compliment from your mom. I'm putting the cast shadow under the figure as well. That's what will lift them up and kind of join the planes, the verticalness of the feet, the horizontalness of where she's seated. Okay. More dark. More dark. Can I do it in 18 minutes? Another thing is, figure drawing is about time management. In fact, I've taught it as a time management course on multiple occasions to Studio C downstairs for their prospect groups. We use different poses and different times to highlight what can be done. So I said today, lay-in is about 20 minutes, which tends to be typical in a long pose. You don't get all the information in a lay-in, but you get where the body is seated. It's cleaning up a little bit. Oh yeah. Cheers. Yes, Greg, that would be cool. The future artist learning from my channel to surpass me. For I have made my bed, and it is in Calgary. For now. I'm just going to use this as a little bit of a bridge. And I've got all my darks. I'm not quite at the hair, so I want to get the next brighter darks, which is this shadow area here. Now the thing about backs that's really hard is they are, unless you know the structure and the structure that happens under them. Like here you have the infraspinatus, this bulge right here, a teres major and teres minor. Then you've got this kind of bony bit that goes across. It's very light here, which is the spine of the scapula. So you're seeing bone, you're seeing flexion. The other thing is, like, you have this aponeurosis up your back, which is a super thin membrane. So you can see the erector spinae pushing through it. And then sometimes even up here you can see the rhomboid muscles. It depends, like, it's very stretched out, so you can see the muscles going this way off the spine. But really on top of all that is that the trapezius kind of turns down here. So you might have to have some knowledge in order to make it look more interesting than what you're seeing, or to decipher why you get this little square in here on the back of the Asaro. Used to throw me off, but now that I know what's going on, there's like a void right there. Probably a good place to put acupuncture needles. They're usually placed in voids. Oh, we can even see here the striation and separation of ribs. So the nice stretching, it's not just back, you know. One of my favorite things to study, but often, like in the Monday morning that we have here, the rise and draw, there's too much light in the daytime. So if you're sitting on the opposite side of the model and you get it back, you gotta put this stuff in through knowledge because you can't really see it. So place yourselves well. I always like to tell people when they're new, sit beside the best drawer. You don't always get, you don't always get the best view. If you come to something late, especially if you come too early, so annoying. Just right. It's got to be just right. Okay. So I'm just going to use some, a little bit of diagonal cross hatching here to get in those rough bubbles in the paper. The other thing is shadows are blurry, so you smooth them out. Can't see in the dark. Hard edges and details, so soften them out. So on this side, there's a little bit of the separation. The lat's going this way, but the erector spinae, which is underneath, there's two bulges. There's a big one at the top here, and then it kind of tapers down. So we get that in there. We'll get the spine in here. Now this will be a little bit challenging, time-wise. So I'm keeping the pencil a direction where the hard edge is this way, and the soft edge is where the form is turning. We're going to do the whole dark shape, and then we'll just erase out the bulges of the spine, the bones surfacing. A lot of this stuff is fairly subtle, so shall we count them? 1, 2, and I'm gonna do a little darker under it too, because it's gonna have to be toned on top a little bit. Three, 4, and there's a little bit one here. All right. I'll just rub my finger over it. They're a little intense right now, but I'll get to it. Curling around the body the way that it's turning, because it's not, even in the lights, it's not even as bright really as this paper. So I do need to put material everywhere. So just imagine it's like a basket or something. And then there's deeper shadows in these divots. Better get rid of this triangle too. It looks a little too much like a pantaloons. I'm not sure if that's a word I'm allowed to say on YouTube, so probably not. Okay. We got 10 minutes. So we're gonna have to move a little faster on these big shapes. Ribs. I guess I could leave the head unfinished. That's kind of interesting. Traps. So, 7th cervical vertebrae right there. Let's turn the head. A little bit of scapula up here. Because this is under the body, it's darker. This is shading this area. Just look for those things. Squint your eyes a little bit. Koji chimes. I squint my eyes, I see a shape coming up here. And then rub my hands over it. I mean, when you guys come back, I've given away all my secrets. I'll have to do something else. It's going to be a little tough from life anyhow, as it often is. Back to my point, a lot of people have been saying that, you know, they haven't been doing the work. It's okay. I mean, I'm the first guy to put the most pressure on myself. But take it from me, you guys, it's gonna be fine. It's just art. No one's dying because we're not drawing, you know? As long as you're consistent when you get back into it, just enjoy the rest of your summer. Or fall, whatever it is right now. And we will resume. I myself need some motivation. All right, I've got 5 minutes left, so I will do the ear shape up here. Simplified design. Blackest part, darker shadow. And the ear needs a little bit of tone on it. It is a turning form. It's kind of like a donut. That's how I teach it in my portrait class, at least. Which I may never teach again. So we'll let the other teachers here have a chance to share their knowledge. Hair, which I always love. So I like to, like a shuttle or something, I like to use my pencil long ways when I'm doing hair. It really gets you nice blacks. And it looks like you're doing a lot more work than you are. So it's not a soft edge, really. It's more hard. It's more drawing lines. I like to think of hair like you're not drawing lines, but you're making textures, directional textures. Drawing inside the iris would be a texture as well. So I'm not dipping it down and drawing flat looking lines. They have different thicknesses. Tilt the direction a little bit. Maybe this is like the abstract side of me, I don't know. All right, 3 minutes. I think we're gonna do it. If anyone has seen this image or knows where it's from, leave information as a comment so that I could find out. I guess I could try to Google image search just to give the photographer and the model their due justice. Unless you know who it is or what it is, then gotta get better at, I just see stuff and then I save it. And I feel like art's like, it's really free for all. We should be allowed to draw, paint, whatever we see. Anything that comes in our eyes or our hearts, sounds, should be available to us. So 2 minutes left. Just gonna clean up edges. It's not so bad down here. I didn't drag my hand too much. Behold, so far. Might even lighten up a little bit here. Lighten up a little bit. Add a little bit more shape as well. Hey, my roommate. Thanks, Ray. Just like that, we've made a piece of art. Let's lighten up the terrace major, terrace minor a little bit. Squint your eyes if you're not sure, and you'll see the shape. And then soften it out. There, see, art's easy. When you have a good subject matter. I need to draw from life. My invented bodies don't look this good. Alright, that connects. Okay, there's our time on that. We will call that done. Give it a little signature. August 11, 2021. Shabam. Let me just get that in the picture for you. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Good enough. I have to be up at 8 a.m. tomorrow for work. I got a friend coming into town. I gotta drink this real slow. I think this is a little too light still. So just dart your eyes back and forth. You know, the shape doesn't quite look right. Gotta get those shapes right. Maybe I'll do a slight lightning trick here. You don't want your reflected lights to be as light as the lights. Sometimes you can get away with it like that. So there she is. She'll be for sale on my Etsy shop. Just kidding, I don't have one. A lot of these drawings I have drawn, people have requested to buy. I'm not comfortable selling non-archival art unless it's, I'll do it for fundraisers, like my Movember campaign every year, because I tell the buyer it's not going to last. So I made her hairball a little too big too. It's a technical term, hairball. All right, so that being said and done, let's take a small break. It's only 7, so that was done in under an hour. And we'll use the rest of the time to do something a little more outward. This is a compressed body, and I don't know, a little bit more rendered maybe. So that's the warm-up. That's the warm-up long pose in quotations. I just noticed that this needs, like, I could spend another session perfecting this, but to what avail? Like I said, this isn't for, you know, full render. It's just practice. So yes, we'll put a little 7-minute break on here. Let's go for triangles. See you in a few. 7 minutes. All right, hey, ho, ho. So, that's always nice to take a little break, isn't it? Wash your hands. See, my hands are black. I don't want to get that. Oh, and look at the rooster hair coming into picture. So, let me just put the image up. This is me doing my homework, I suspect. I can say it that way. Let me just, what do I do here? Go like that, and then I go like that. Wait, that didn't work. Ah, how about a nice fade? Okay. So it's a very long, slender figure. Speaking of long and slender, before we get into our study here, I want to show the two pencils that I used. Let me zoom in. Will it focus? Come on, buddies. Auto. Sorry, guys. I gotta hit a button, I think. Where is it? Okay. But focus for me, you jerk. All right, there we go. Okay, so these are the two that I drew with, and you see they're short stumps. This is what you want. Just to show you the contrast, that long, slender. It's all worn out on these ones. They were all sharpened the same. So this is a very blunt instrument, which I can use for the background shading and stuff. But that's why I sharpen a whole bunch before. I mean, halfway through a session, it's kind of nice to stop and, you know, sharpen some pencils, get meditative. But at the same time, it can be distracting. It can take you out of the way you're approaching this. You know, you might be in the zone. So that's why I say have about 5 pencils sharpened. So I have one more Pierre Noir Conte. I can use the blunt ones for shadow shapes if I'm going to put in background or not, or the lower legs, because they're just soft edged. And then I also have Wolf's Carbon. Because this head's going to be a third of the size of the previous drawing, and there's little details there and angles on the nose. I need something a little bit more firm that will keep its point, and it also has a smaller diameter. So I know I explain this every week and you all have heard it 1,000 times, but repetition is the mother of all learning. So I'm just going to put my image up, and then we're going to get going on this. So I imagine a plum. Here's a plum here. It's just a weight on a string. I could put it over the TV screen in front of me. I could just have it in my pocket and hold it up. That idea of the line of the string, you can have like a little washer with you when you're at figure sessions. I'm gonna imagine it going down her face. I wish I could actually point to this, but down from her eye, down the right side of her nose, down the side of her mouth, down the side of her B-rest, and hopefully intersecting where her leg's folding, and then the side of the knee. So I have like 4 points touching there. Now you can pick the center line wherever you want. I try to do it in the general center of a figure, you know, drawing still life and wine bottles and things like that. That's the way I would go. You don't actually even have to draw this line. You just have to know it's there. So, but I'm going to continue in the stream of study like a student. Consistency is the road to growth. And I'm going to find out the halfway point. I always tend to put a little high. Now, where's the halfway point on her? Well, we can go with kind of the rule that the bottom of the pelvis, so the groin to the top of the head, is half, and the legs are half. So I'm going to use that intersecting point where her legs come down. Okay, then I'm going to measure her head length, and I'm going to figure out how big the units are. I'm going to go to the top of her head to her chin. It's 2 and a bit. One, two, whoa, I better count this again. That looks way goofy. 3 is what I mean. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 and a bit. Perfect. So her head is a little bit to the left of the line. Cranial mass. In part 2, by teaching this, I'm reminding myself, the center line of her face is beside that center line. So is her chin. See the ears up here. And her jaw. So this is one way of creating the mask. Through the center of the circle is the brow line. So that's where her nose will be. And then we're going to go with the neck. It's got one more turn there. Great. This is more structural. So I'm going to put a timer on here, but I might not stop. Punt tomorrow timing, 25 minutes. Her shoulder, it's on the right side, I figure, of the center line. And the inside fold of the arm is 1 head length away. Just by taking that measure, turning it horizontal. Traditionally, from head length goes from chin to sternum. So take the head length and put it there. That's going to be the sternum, which is on this side here. And that kind of gives us a location for that mound. It connects to the arm bone, the pectoral. I can see the clavicle, the neck pit, this is looking like Art Nouveau so far. And in alignment with this shoulder, which is lower than the chin, go straight across, and I can see the back shoulder. So it's good to get that chassis built first. Then we can draw the oval, which represents the rib cage. And you can see where the rib cage is going. The rib cage, front on, is 4 cranial masses, but we have it turned, right? There's a center line going down the body here. I hope this is really helpful, because this is a very constructive way I'm drawing for this part. I'm trying to get a little lesson out of it. If I hold my pencil straight in front of me, and I determine that the épaulet is right there, they're actually at a tilt away, down. So I can find this mound. Right there. Like all boys, I may have overemphasized the mysterious parts that bring life. Okay. So, head, chest, hips. The hips are tilted at this angle. And I'm, for this particular one, going to use the idea of a tilted oval. So, the hips would be at this angle. I can see the side of the leg and tilted down, but I can't see the other side of the hip going away from me. You could use the bucket method here as well. I'm going to just place the belly button right here. It may move. It might be higher up. I'm going to take one measure as well of the head length to get the outer hip width. And then I just kind of match the tilt. It's going to go below that horizontal line. And the other hip straight down from the side of the head there. So that kind of gets me a cylindrical structure. So I have a crossing point for the leg, and I need to find where the knee is. If I drop a plumb from the head, and if I take a measurement of the head, I get the location of the top of the knee. And it's very clear. You can see the patella on this leg. On the other side is the vastus medialis. So just be aware that that's going to stick out from that line. And then I can just copy that angle. If I take a head measure, I can also find out from the center line where that foot winds up. It also should be dropping straight below this hip. So a bunch of ways to get you there. Okay. Lower leg, tendon. Ribs. The belly button's going to be in more. Okay. So this part of the cylinder represents the aces bone, which you can kind of see protruding on this side and where the hand is just over. Just going to draw the flat of the wrist, and we'll get this other leg in. You can use negative space here to draw that triangle shadow. This is all going to be dark. I did it soft, this outer leg, because I'm not fully convinced I am where I want to be. So, figuring somewhere there. Patella. Vastus lateralis. Lateral outside, medius, middle, inside. Okay, so we got some good structure there. You know, I half feel like I've drawn this before. It's taking a head measure to find where the second foot is coming up, and also that is where the ankle is. In this case, it's not always the truth. But the foot tends to be relative to the head. Especially in a way it's closer to us. Okay. So there's the lower legs. And I always like to do the legs first because you can do whatever with the hands, change them. I like to do the legs first too because they hold up the body, and I remember back in my art school days, the hardest thing was when they said, draw the body up from the base. And so find it still useful. So we have our inner arm mark. Oops, that's the outer part. There's a thumb going up the hip. These hands are crazy. So just draw like a mitten shape. Okay. Deltoid. And the rest of the arm. All right, so it's been 10 minutes. I've got the general lay-in already, all the shapes. So now we'll find our shadow shapes. So looking for our darks and lights, essentially. I'm going to start up at the hair because I'm going to move down and get this face blocked in pretty quick. I mean, if you draw this way for a while, you have a method, and you'll just get better and better. I'm still nowhere where I want to be in terms of my drawing technically, but if I look at the years since I opened the Atelier, I mean, anyone who even looks at my social media can tell that what we're doing here and that the consistent practicing is having an effect, a positive effect. At least on my art. All of those of us who practice seem to be getting better. But you can't do it in a vacuum. The ear falls into this part of the circle. There's some crazy stuff going on with shapes here. Stick to a method as long as you can. And don't jump around. Dabbling, we call it. Don't dabble. Stick to it, maybe for a few weeks, master it if you can, and then move on or add to it. I don't always draw the same way. You know, if you're watching these, it's always a little different. I'm giving options. And you gotta be able to be a little spontaneous, to be creative. Let's put dark like this. This is the artsy part. So halfway through the head is the eyes. So I like to put, with the one eye spacing in between, I like to put where my tear ducts are going to be. And then make sure that they travel that same line across. She has a tilted eyes, so. I'm just going to draw the shapes. Not really drawing eyes. So from the brow to the chin, halfway is the nose. And her nose goes very close to the center line. Actually, it touches it, but I don't think I drew a little more tilt in mine. Just draw the shapes as you see them. The nose is also as wide as the eyes. From the ear to the mouth, so the mouth from the nose to the chin halfway is that shadow under the bottom of the lip. And it's turning. So if you follow that line that's slightly turning from the tear ducts down, or from the left side of, or the right side of the iris here, some people go from the middle of the forehead through the nostril. That gives you the side of the mouth. Top lip is always in shadow, which is very interesting. shape to hers. Because I tilted the eyes, my girl looks a little more Asian than this girl. My bad. But we're moving down. Neck shadow is the one under the neck. Just draw the shapes. Slightly curving for the collarbone. It's not totally straight across. Shade her in. So I'm also trying to keep my should be some reflected light there. Trying to keep my pencil sharp the whole time. So I turn it. I think of it as an opportunity to sharpen. I don't press the tip in. And then I say something like that, and then I do exactly what I just said. Okay. Cute little chin. Maybe erase out a little reflected light under there. And let's put some shadow. I think there's even like an earring. Maybe some hair. I don't know. But we can lost edge that. For the sake of this demo. Shadow behind this arm. Because it's far back, put some tone and also blur it. Soften it. Alright, so finding some more shadows. The one that goes from the shoulder, that's kind of rolled out. The shadow under the pec. And it turns into a cast shadow, which follows the back of the body here. And describes some of the ribs. It's kind of like the stretchy looking lines. 2, 3, and go soft. So this could also just be combined with a lost edge. And show a little bit of the back there. Fold under the arm. How much detail, I don't know. Following the direction of the form, which is the arm. Shadow underneath here. So it would be better if I used my pencil this way because I want the hard edge to be on that side of the bone. But my arm doesn't do that. So I gotta turn or twist the pencil. got like some sort of wrapping on this arm. Cast shadow, which describes the form. Wow, I'll move up here. Sorry, guys. I'm not watching the screen. Might help me. Cast shadow. It's got a crazy pattern to it, so I don't think we need to go too much into that. The hip is out in light. Actually starts further back. So just another minute left. Let's get this chest area done then. Cast shadow underneath. Kind of a half moon shape. Or wait, that's what the moon will look like tonight if it were reversed. We just came out of a new moon, meaning it was pitch dark a couple nights ago. So we're starting to get a little sliver again. From the dark to the light. So we're going pretty good here. Soften, soften. Put a little ball of light on that shoulder. 30 seconds. Alright, so, I mean, normally I would take a break here, but I'm not going to. We'll just keep going. Just start bringing her down. Just adding a little more depth to the darkness here. Okay. A little bit of tone as this is far away from us. Oh my god. Just realized my stupidity, I didn't cover the things. So this will get taken down even though it's art. Damn. What can you do? It's a shadow for the ribs. Take some of these structure lines out, we don't need them. to get rid of my constructive hip shape and these lines. Put in a couple details. All right, while we're here, let's just do this terrible hand here. Way up the side of the thumb. Nails. Just dark and light shapes. Maybe one's a halftone. And then what's under it? Cast shadow, which describes the form on which it's falling. So we want to really curve it. There's a slight dimpling here to represent that leg, that hip, that little dip, kind of that split in the muscle there. Okay, then we take the core adductors. Okay. Making good time here. Across the contour. Erase that little highlight. So the patella has a shadow on it and a cast shadow beneath it. The shadow between the patella and the vastus lateralis. That's kind of the line of the highlight there. So this whole side of this leg has tone on it. A really bright nail. And a less bright nail. This back leg needs a little tone on it. Tail is a little bit darker. There's a shadow along the tibia tuberosity. It looks light on this side because it's on dark, but let's just combine all this into one big dark shape. It's below the light, it's underneath the body. You can get descriptive here. Tibia tuberosity. Front of the shin. Essentially all the way down to the ankle. So to make something look light, I just put dark beside it. I mean, we're almost there, and it's not even 8 o'clock yet. Well, let's put some furniture in here. It's also a necklace. And the hand at the back. Stool. I guess we can put these tattoos on, right? We paid good money for these, probably. Uh-oh. What just happened? Ah! Well, this all points one direction to me. I just broke the pencil. This pencil had a good life. Good long life. I'm gonna take a little wee break and then switch to the blunt instrument for some shading. That's my ones from before. And then maybe go in and do a little bit more detailing with the Wolf's Carbon. If you're still there, I'm gonna put another countdown on for 7. Stars. Enjoy. No, wait. This one, guys. Redo. Okay, let's tilt this up. I'm putting tattoos in and I'm getting a smaller pencil. Is that the right angle? Something like that. Something like that. I'll post it on social media after. So I'm switching down to my Wolf's Carbon. I don't know how much I'll do. It's only 812, so now I can slow down and pretend to enjoy the process. Put some highlights in the hair. This is just a practice drawing too, so I'm not trying to get that full render I think everyone has in their mind. In fact, this could be a good time to work on my blurriness. More rubbing. Just to soften edges. I can always harden edges too, right? So this is a harder pencil. It doesn't draw as dark, but it can pick up the material that's already existing on the surface. I can also press a little bit harder with this one. It won't break. Maybe I'll get a blunt instrument out as well. So I'm taking kind of the shapes of shadows in the background and I'm unifying them with this squiggly line to kind of be like a design element. So I'm not trying to draw what's actually in the background. I don't have that much time. Softening it up. It's good to not make these lines regular either. So wiggle them a little bit. It's an interesting cast shadow here because we see that necklace floating. Let's put that in there. You know, when I first looked at this for the first hour, I didn't even notice that necklace. It's kind of cool. It kind of looks like a yin yang. And its edge kind of softens up. It's on a soft material. Gets a little diffused. jewelry in there. Let's put some more tattoos on this model. I bet you can really hear the birds now. During that break, I closed the studio window. It's starting to get a little chilly in here. Don't want to draw it with too much detail either, otherwise it'll make it look flat. It's almost like the impression of the tattoo, unless you can really describe how it flows the shape of the body. Your brain might even tell you to draw it flat, like how it would have looked on paper before the artist applied the stencil. These things can happen. getting close. My mind wanders when I'm doing this. And I just, with the goth side of me, thinking mortal thoughts here of how much I enjoy the things I get to do in my life as an artist. Wandering off on, ideas of mortality, like, well, won't be able to live forever, so gotta get your drawing in now. And what does it even matter? What does it even matter? It sounds dark when I say it out loud, but just think about, you say tattoos are permanent, and then thinking, well, this last might want to get some more. I notice this part of the leg is lacking. So just got a model, got to work to make a little bit more money, get some more tattoos. Just crisping up some of my harder edges. The cores. Really, it's only 8:30 and I feel like I'm done. So I don't know what's been happening lately. Let's do a little fix up on the face. The nose is never that pure white. Put a little tone on it. Looks to me like there might be a ring or something on there. Bring up the chin a little bit. I'll just gonna take a little sit back and look at this. See if there's anything pressing that I want to deal with. Yes. Side of the face is looking a little mumpy. Oh, Dax Brown. Hey, hey. Dax and I used to go to Ladysmith Secondary together. Boy, oh boy, that was a long time ago. I wish I could go back to secondary school. Not like Mr. Depp. They remade that, didn't they? 21 Jump Street. Maybe a little shadow underneath the clavicle. Okay, keep going. But instead, let's flip this camera around and look at what we made today. Let's look at what we made. So I take this off, then I hit cut. Okay. Where did the drawing go? I think I put it away already in true Virgo fashion. What a goofball. So, I'm going to tilt up first. Oh! What do we got here? Up we go, where she stops. Hopefully she's straight. Okay. Get this perfect for you guys. Got some clips. There's your comments up on the screen there. See the pictures, the references, little tiny guys down there. Oh yeah. Let's see through this. Alright. What we need is more sheets behind that. We'll do that with this one. So, a needle pulling thread. There we are. Voila. 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 I didn't even drink half of this. So, guys, I'm excited you joined me tonight, even if I'm just off back in the screen or on the phone in your pocket. You tuning in helps the algorithm, helps this channel grow. I hope you join me again next week for another free figure drawing session. Every Wednesday, 6 until 9. And once again, it's not 9. The last couple of weeks I've been a little lazy, but I'll get back into it. 3 hours seems almost too long for me now. I'd like to give a shout out and a special thanks to these models who I don't know and the people who took these photos, which I will try to find out and put in the description box below. Thank you for your inspiration and beauty. Thank you, Pencil Company. Thank you, Trees, for making beautiful, inexpensive newsprint paper. You can check out past videos in the archive, videos on how to sharpen your pencils. If you're new to this channel and you're thinking about taking classes in fall, they start in October. And that's when life drawing is going to start up again. Tuesday, short pose. Wednesday, long pose. Thursday, we might even have something. And also, I'm probably going to run Rise and Draw Monday morning, as I always have, but I might add one Friday morning, so those who can't get in Monday can come have a coffee Friday, have a leisurely draw. Maybe Friday will be more geared towards painting. Yeah, while you're at it, don't forget to share this stuff. Tell people about this. This is like our little corner of the world on the digital platform. So like it, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because then it will tell you when the video starts. I always try to start 15 minutes early, sharpen my pencils, so if you do have notifications turned on, it gives you enough time before 6 to get yourself ready and prepared. Feel free to share this. If you did a drawing tonight I'm happy to critique it. You can DM me on the Instagram. All the ways you can get a hold of me are in the description box. There's so many now, it's hard to keep track of. Email still really the best way. Atelier, Artista, yyc@gmail.com. Okay, that's it for this week. These turned out okay. I like the tattoos. I'm glad I put them in. My girl is different than this girl. She's far more Caucasian, but I tilted the eyes and brought the lips down a little too far. But hey, I'll put this on the social media and you can see a better version, because I noticed if you watch this video later rather than live, I'm not sure how it looks, but if you watch it later, it takes a whole night to compress, and then the version doesn't look as good as what I'm seeing on my screen right now. So if you're watching the archive, I believe they're lower quality. You have to go to the right, turn your quality settings up. But still, if you speed it up to like 3 times, sound like this, and that is entertaining as well. So thank you. Usually I use my hat for this part, but today I'll empty this can. I don't think I can do it. I just want to say thanks again, and ciao for now. Oh God, did that work?